Good morning, everybody, except for we're not morning, we are evening, and I have very little voice. We are April 15th, and this is an official Healthy Teachers, Healthy Classrooms call. And Sarah Pine is my guest, and she is an amazing human that I got the pleasure of meeting 3 years ago, I think.
Hmm.
Um, and as soon as I saw her, I just was like, wow, check out this lady. I want to know more about her. And so over the past 3 years, we've developed a friendship. And in this Wired to Well series, I wanted to bring in some somatic practices, and Sarah has this immense knowledge about the body and its systems and how they work and how we can use them to help us um, deal with all the chaos and the crazy that's around us, because it's going to be there all the time. And it's really hard to step out of. And so she's got some great tools to help us step out of it. And we were just playing before I hit record and talking about the funny little things that we might have on our desk. Um, and some of you may recognize this character. And I don't know if I can talk about this character without crying, to be honest, Sarah. Um, this is Joy from what's the movie?
Inside Out.
Inside Out. And so um, I have sadness somewhere too, but Inside Out, and I have her on my desk to remind me of joy and of sadness. When this movie came out, it was shortly after I'd lost my daughter. So when when we went and watched this movie, I bawled my eyes out like through the whole entire movie. My husband wasn't quite sure what to do, right? We're at a kids theater movie thing, and I'm crying and crying and crying. Um, right.
So, well, Carmen's kind of collecting herself. Let me just introduce myself a little bit more. First of all, I'm so honored to be able to share some of my work. I've been um, a wellness practitioner for mm, a- probably about 20, 25 years now. I started my path actually studying psychology in college. And at the time, I was also a competitive soccer player. Um, I was I was a really good soccer player. Um, and I had a career-ending injury. Um, And this is after years of, gosh, probably since middle school, I was probably practicing and training 4 hours a day. I sacrificed a lot of other activities that maybe like other teenagers may have been doing. So when um, I got injured, this not only was the physical healing that had to happen, but there was also um, this facing the reality that this was my identity. And so without soccer, like who was I? And looking at having to really recreate myself. And I was just before we hit record, I was telling Carmen, you never really know when you have these healing crises or these events that happen in your life. And at the time, you're kind of like, what is going on here? And like, why am I having to go through this? And like, this stinks. And this is really hard. And I don't know how to really navigate this. Um, and you're just kind of brought to your knees, or the rug is pulled out from under you, and you kind of have to have these really like deep conversations with yourself of like what's how are you going to pull yourself out of this place. And for me, I needed to also take more courses. Being in college, I had to take, get credits for college. And I I knew I couldn't walk. So, and I knew also what Carmen knows about me is at the time I had also been diagnosed with ADHD and two forms of dyslexia, as well as a linguistic disability. So I also knew I didn't want to take any kind of tough academic classes because I was trying to sort myself from that front as well. So I ended up taking a painting class. I just kind of threw my hat in the ring there. And I'm so glad I did. It is a huge part of my life. I think, I walk around my home right now, and I think I have, and Carmen, you've been in my house. I mean, I have a painting of mine probably in just about every room of the house. And if my husband's not careful, I'll probably like, paint furniture,
Wall, the
chairs,
bathroom.
the bathroom wall. But it's become this whole, it became a part of my healing journey, really, is like I had no idea that I had this in me. And I also ha have since healed my back, and I went on to coach soccer for a few years. I also went on to um, participate in triathlons, and so like I really healed my back as well. And then I have this whole other part of this artist part of me that I had no idea was even in me. So so I'm I am someone now who looks at these kinds of periods in our life where we um get kind of, a curveball maybe. And this happens to everyone. We can have the best diet, we can have the best, this or that, and still like, we're in a human body, and, life happens, and then we have to learn how to like pick ourselves back up if something like this happens to us. And we learn along the way. We're always learning. And I think also before we hit record, Carmen and I were just talking about like the body appreciation. And part of what makes the kind of work that I've been trained in is so much fun is because it's very body based. It's very kinesthetic. So I'm hoping that in a couple of minutes, I'm going to guide us all through some exercises that are very body focused. You don't have to know anatomy. You don't have to have a huge amount of knowledge around it. You just have to have a body. So we're all covered there. And just to let me kind of guide you through just listening to my voice and guide you through um, my understanding of where the connections are and what's going on in our body. And my hope is that you leave with a little bit more connection to yourself and a little bit more trust and a little bit more feeling safe in your body. And that's what, um, once you're there and have that kind of trust, then the body actually carries so much wisdom in it that it can kind of lead and guide us. And so that's what I'm hoping we can do tonight. How's that
That's
sound to
awesome.
you,
I have to,
Carmen?
that sounds great. I do have to tell a story.
Mhm.
When I first started working with Sarah, and so many of you have seen my tiles because I show them regularly and my little calendar.
Oh, that's so
And
great.
and so the first three calls, because I worked with Sarah for a year and a half on her own calls. And so the first three calls I was driving and she's talking about tiles and cutting them out. And I'm like, I don't have time to cut out tiles. What are you talking about? Right. And all of the other information that's coming in my direction is go digital, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ah. So, and after those three calls, I was like, I was drawn into Sarah's, what she did. And so I just started showing up and doing what she was showing me how to do. And it's transformed how I run my life. I was a guest on a mastermind a couple weeks ago, and these women label themselves as high achieving business women. And no offense against any high achieving business women at all. And I just was like, I don't one thing, I want that label. I do not want that label and that pressure of a high achieving businesswoman. I like that my nervous system is calm and that I can have calm conversations when I'm frustrated. And there's like so much body wisdom that I've learned and I practice it on a daily basis. In fact, for the last 3 weeks, I've been doing about 2 hours a day. And it's mind blowing. So, and I didn't start there. As I said, I started going, what is this lady talking about? I don't have time to cut papers. And so I just would really invite you to lean in, no matter where you're listening to or listening from, and give it a try. And over time, we know this with habits, the more we practice them, the easier they get, the more ingrained they get, the easier and more simple they become. So I just wanted to give you that little story of it might be challenging. Some of you, it might be anxiety provoking because there's been some things that I've done with Sarah that I'm like, oh, this is too slow. Because my mind is used to running the show. Sarah laughs at me in my pit of energy. Um, and so I just really invite you to lean in. I'm super excited to see what Sarah has in store for us this evening. So Sarah, it's all yours.
Cool. And before, can I just share a little bit more? Because I love what you brought up with the calendar. So Carmen held up a bucket with tiles in it, and those tiles are part of a class that I've been teaching that is called the Healing Calendar. And the reason for why it's even called the Healing Calendar is because I was noticing for my kids, for myself, and for a lot of the humans around me that we were kind of jumping from one activity to the next and kind of ending our days feeling really depleted, really stressed, and still having way too much to do, not feeling like we're actually getting to the stuff that are really important to us in our days. Like it's kind of like I mean, I looked at it even as, when you're paying bills, and it was kind of like it's kind of like when you go to pay your bills and you realize like all of your money is going to stuff that you're like, well, that wasn't fun, and that wasn't fun, and that wasn't fun. And like, oh my gosh, all my money's gone. And I went to all this like, boring stuff. And that's what it was feeling like, is that my time and our time, my family's time, was going to these things that were not fulfilling us. And it was hard to even see, like Carmen saying, with the digital like we have amazing technology, and I use digital calendars. Um, but what they were missing for me is that connection of that intelligence that my body can give me around what feels right, what feels like too much, what feels like I'm not getting to that is really important and special to me. And I didn't want my life passing me by. I didn't want to have this relationship to my time in my day where it was getting given to everybody else, and that it would almost feel like stopping and doing this healing calendar process made it a lot more visible to me about, and my feelings were in check, and I got to be really engaged with my calendar and my time in a way that allowed me to really do the things that feel important to me. Not like I didn't want to miss out on my kids', events or, special moments that were for them. And I didn't want to come home after working all day and be a cranky, grumpy human, and my kids are trying to connect and reach out to me. Maybe they had a hard day. I wanted energy at the end of the day to like really be with them and be, um, you know, get back to like painting and stuff that like really filled me up. And so that's what Carmen's holding up there. So that's just another part of um the evolution that I see as we're all on these different healing journey paths of like making sure that we are using our whole self, not just, and Carmen mentioned this, not just doing stuff from this cognitive thinking only way, but allowing our minds to have a break. So, and letting other parts of ourself, our intuition, our feeling body, our kinesthetic, and I can explain a little bit more of that, but the actual touching and engaging of life, making life 3D, 4D, not just over a screen in this virtual
That's
way.
and that's one of the things I love about how your brain works, Sarah, is your brain and how it works, even though it has the four labels we mentioned earlier. Your brain and how you talk about your brain and what you see and how you see the world and how you interact with the world and raise your four amazing humans of your children. It's just like it opens my mind to the neurodiversity of brains and how cool they are and how
Yeah.
I get excited about how other people's brains work because I'm like, ooh, that's not how my brain works. So it gives me like a glimpse into how they see the world. And that for me is just so powerful. And I really appreciate that you've taught me that so that I can look at things differently and be like, oh, this is so cool, as opposed to it being, oh, this is what is this?
What is
Right?
that?
It's got that.
What's that person doing over there?
I know, right?
Why are they
Traditionally, it's like,
doing it
oh,
like that?
this is not the norm, but it's way cooler. So, yeah.
So it's so interesting hearing you say that, Carmen, because I know now, I mean, going through school as a kid, it was pretty hard and I got labeled as being a space cadet, and um, just having a hard time keeping my attention, sitting in the chair. Like I was like when you were teaching, I was probably one of those students that you're like, "Oh my God, just sit down." Like pay attention over here. Um, and I really was trying my best, by the way. But it's taken me a long time to build. Now I have those skills built in, and they're actually, um, it's so easy for me to listen and have amazing recall. As you can hear me now, like you probably wouldn't guess that I had ADHD stuff going on and bouncing out of my chair all the time and never sitting still. Um, but I've done all this kind of work around teaching my kinesthetic, teaching my body to help me take in the information around me, not be overwhelmed by it. Um, and it it opens up this whole creative approach towards problems or challenges in life or in your day that you might
Yeah.
not, you know, that I had to kind of work around because the information was coming in, in probably just, my experience for those who maybe have attention issues, like my experience in listening to people is that there'll be moments where they'll say something and that word might take me somewhere else mentally. And all of a sudden I'm gone and I come back to the conversation and it's like, oh, shoot, they've been talking this whole time. What did they just say? Like, I have no idea. So, so
Yeah.
now in my grown-up body, I understand that there's like other ways to listen. And so
And
and
that's what
in
I
this,
love. That's
yeah.
what I love about what you do is you open up these other realms of I'm like, oh, I can take in the world this way. And that my body actually already is. And if I'm not
Yeah.
aware of it, I'm doing my body a disservice because I'm like, oh, you're doing these two things where I'm actually doing 40 things. So, and that I can now recognize that I'm doing 40 things. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing 40 things. Whoa, let's do a half a thing.
Isn't that crazy? Like you don't even realize, our experience in these places where we have like these blind spots is that we, like your example, and I suspect part of your also narrative is like, or part of the story for you is like, why am I tired all the time? And that's what's so funny about these blind spots is that you don't even realize that you're doing 40 things. You think you're doing two things and then you're judging on yourself or like you're on it with yourself around like, how come I'm not getting this thing finished or done? Not recognizing how much more is going on in your day.
And that's what I love about the work you do around our nervous system, is because then it's just like Sarah also does this deep rest call, a deep rest series, which is about helping our body really deeply, deeply rest. And it is phenomenal as well. And so it's like my body is got this like deep rest mode that I can go into pretty quickly now. And I'm like, oh, it's heaven. And because I can do that, those two things that I'm doing, 40, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do those two 40 things and my doesn't send my system in an overload like it did a year
Yeah.
ago, or even 6 months
Yeah.
ago, or even on a day I'm having a rough day. I'm like, oh, I just got shoved into overwhelm or overload, overdrive, whatever over you want to be. And then I'm like, oh, I don't actually want to be there. So I get to choose to do something and
Right.
then shift back. So I'm like, oh,
Right.
yep, I'm good. And I'm actually am good. It's not just I'm pushing through, saying I'm good, putting my mask on and muscling my way through.
Right. Which is
So
something we've been taught is to kind of really push and muscle through. So, all right, we've been chatting. Let's do this. Um, so, so what I'm going to have everybody do right now is you can either sit or lie down, but I want you to just find a quiet space for yourself. If you're driving and listening to this, you're operating a machine right now, so you can either listen to my voice right now and then re-listen when you are pulled over, and you can really kind of get yourself into your body. But what I want to do right now is help us kind of drop into our bodies a little bit more. All right, so if you're in a safe spot, eyes are closed, and you're just going to start to listen to my voice. I want you to start to feel the skeletal system, the bones, especially the shoulders and upper back. Feel their weight. For some of us, you might even be aware of like the thickness, just how powerful and strong this area of the body is. And so let that drop and relax. Let your arms drop and relax by your side or in your lap. And I'm going to keep bringing our attention to the shoulders, to the clavicle area, so the collarbone in front, the throat. That's it. And maybe you're slowing your breath down. You're breathing in through the nose. You can either breathe back out through the nose or out through the mouth, whatever feels right for you tonight. Good. And now bring your awareness lower down into the bowl of the pelvis, the hips, sacrum. And if you're seated, go ahead and stack your shoulders in line with your hips. So for some of us, for a lot of us, especially if we're ones who are a little more driven, you might find that your whole upper body and head are tipped forward in front of the hips. So if you feel that, go ahead and slide the shoulders and head back. Good. And I want you to go a little bit further back beyond the hips if you can, and then come forward into neutral back to where the shoulders and hips line up. And now go ahead and take the head and shoulders forward in front of the hips. And then come back to neutral. So you're stacked again, shoulders on top of the hips. Good. Bring the shoulders back behind the hips a little bit, leaning back. Good. And now come forward, stacking the shoulders on top of the hips again. Good. And you know you're stacked, and because what'll happen when you're stacked and the shoulders are on top of the hips, you'll actually feel a little bit of a lift through your neck and head. Your neck and head will start to feel a little bit like they're floating like a balloon. So we're going to do this a couple of times. You can do it at your own pace. You're going to lean forward in front of the hips and then come back. And right where you feel like your shoulders are stacked, just pause there for a moment and see if you can notice that slight lift. That's great. Then come back, leaning back, shoulders are behind the hips a little bit. And then come forward. Stop and pause right where you feel like the shoulders and hips are stacked. And when they get there, see if you can feel that slight, it's almost like something is growing and getting longer through the spine. And that's such a great place to be at, especially at the end of the day in the evening, that we're finishing our day feeling this lift, feeling this weightlessness through the head and neck. Good. And then I want you to take your shoulders and lift your shoulders up towards your ear and then bring them back behind you and then down. So you start to make backward circles. So lift the ears, excuse me, lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then back behind you and let them drop back down. And one more time, lift the shoulders up towards the ears, bring them back behind you and drop them down. That's so great. Okay, stop that. And now I'm going to see if I can help. I heard Carmen's throat is a little scratchy tonight. So I want to help. What we're going to do is drain the lymph system a little bit and help move that through. And this time of year, at least I'm just outside of Boston, Massachusetts in the States. And we had snow and a frost last Thursday, and then today it's like summer weather, so it's 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how that translates in Celsius. Carmen, you'd have to help me with that later. Stay in your zone. But I want that when we have these kinds of swings like this in the spring, um, it can be really hard for the body to know how to lubricate the system. And so when it's cold, it wants to make sure that things that are sensitive tissues are lubricated. And then when it's hot, the body wants to offload that all that phlegm and all that extra lube really fast. And so it can get a little bit confusing for the body this time of year of like what to do. Is it winter? Is it spring, summer? Like what what are we doing here today? So it can feel like that for the body. So I want you to take your right hand and I want you to find your left clavicle, right where the sternum and clavicle, so your collarbone meet. So you've got your breastbone in front, that's your sternum, and you're going to come up to the very top of the sternum, the breastbone there, and then you're going to move to the left and you'll feel a little bit of a bump out, and that's where the collarbone and the breastbone kind of meet together. And I want you to just make circles there. And right now I'm doing a circle that's like up, out, and around. So I'm coming up, out, and around. It's fine if you want to go the other way. The idea is we're going to help move the lymph around a little bit. So you make that circle, and then I want you to just move a little bit further out towards the shoulder, the left shoulder, making circles. Maybe do a few circles and then lift your hand, your right hand up and go a little bit further out. So we're going to go all the way out towards the shoulder, right towards the end of the collarbone. Good. And then you're going to take your hand, lift it off, and go back to the beginning spot again. And I want you to just go underneath with your first two fingers, the pads of your fingers. I want you to just gently trace under the collarbone, sliding your fingers over towards the shoulder. And you're just going to stop where the collarbone ends. That should feel really nice. The pressure's really gentle. And you're just kind of as if you were smoothing something out. And you're going to do this swipe maybe 3 times. So when you get to the end of the collarbone, just lift off. Start in the center again, right underneath where the sternum, the breastbone, and the collarbone meet, and slide back out again. Nice. And if you're yawning or you got a nice sigh, that's great news. That just means your body, your nervous system is dropping into a parasympathetic state, which is nice. Okay, so now once you've done maybe 3 swipes there, you're going to go on top of the collarbone and you're going to do the same thing. We're just going to swipe all the way across, starting from the sternum all the way out. And if you've got any spots that feel really tender or sensitive, go ahead and do the at your own pace, those 3 swipes. But if anything feels tender or you feel like your hands get kind of stuck, go ahead and pause, stop, breathe right to that point there, right where your fingers kind of got stuck. And then you may notice that as the muscles relax and as the tissues relax, your fingers will start moving all on their own again. So great. And so for some of you, like when I'm doing this on the top side here, we're going to switch to the other side. You can take your left hand and you're going to go under, you're going to make the circle, sorry, first, right along the collarbone, starting from the sternum. You may notice other parts of your neck or even your jaw relaxing, and that's great. Good job. Good. Lift off and move a little bit further towards the shoulder, front of the shoulder, doing little circles. Good. Keep lifting off, do a few circles, and then move closer to the front of the shoulder until you get to the end of that collarbone. Good. And I'm going to have you just pause here for a moment. So we've only done We've done the left side complete. We've only done circles on the right side. Can you feel a difference from one side to the other? And can you feel how up in your face, does it feel different from one side of the face to the other? So take some breaths in and see when you breathe in if you can feel any difference. And as you exhale out, you can feel the air moving more easily on one side. Do your cheek muscles feel more relaxed and open on one side? So this is what's so cool about how our bodies are connected, that we haven't even done anything in the face, and yet we're affecting all this change in the face just by working the clavicle and collarbone area. All right, so we are going to continue with the swipes on the right collarbone. So you're going to take your first two fingers with the left hand, and just with the finger pads, you're just starting from the breastbone and you're just swiping all the way across underneath, just smoothing it out. That's so great. Keep on going. So I had mentioned, this time of year when the weather's kind of flip-flopping like this on us, it's really helpful to keep our lymph moving. And our lymph, unlike our blood system, our lymph has no pump to it. It gets pumped by our breath. Nice job, Carmen. You're really releasing. So if you've done underneath and you've done enough swipes, you can go on the top of the clavicle and you're swiping across gently. And see, I can feel like my finger just got stopped. It got stuck. So I'm going to stop. I'm not going to push or force it. And I'm just going to take a nice breath. There it goes. And now it's moving again. So I'm letting my body kind of set the pace. So if you ever feel like you're fighting something, coming down with something, it's really helpful to do this kind of lymph flushing that we're doing right now. And as you can see, it's pretty easy. We're just tracing the clavicle. That's great. And now after you've done enough swipes there, I want you to take your index finger, and it doesn't matter. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to use my left hand, but you can use your right hand. It's totally fine. I want you to find the very top of your breastbone there. So you can feel where the bone is, and then as you work your way towards your throat, all of a sudden your finger will kind of drop off. And there's actually can you feel like a horseshoe shape? Nice. And here's something magical I love about our bodies is that our finger fits perfectly, like it can rest perfectly in that spot. So what I want you to do here is I want you to take your awareness and all your energy and imagine it's right in the finger pad there, and it's like a magnet. And I want you to take your finger and just press down, dragging like with a magnet, with the energy, drag the energy down towards the bottom of that horseshoe. So I've got, when I want to work my energy body, my feeling body, and my physical body, those three systems, then I think about connecting at a deeper level. So I'm not just at the skin, but I'm just kind of hugged in, and it feels like I've got a little bit more meat, if that translates. Yeah, okay, good. Ah, that feels good. So you can lift off again, and then if you want to feel that again, you can go in with the finger, nice and gentle. We're not trying to like poke our throats or anything like that. We're just making connection with the muscle and skin, and then we're dragging it down towards the bottom of that horseshoe. That's great. Nice job. Again, if you feel like a big sigh or a yawn, that is just your system um, switching over and relaxing and releasing and draining. Cool. You can release there. Please take your hands and rub them together and build up a little bit of energy, a little bit of warmth in your hands. And now I want you to place your hands around kind of where maybe your mom or a nurse or a doctor would kind of check your glands in your throat, okay? Or your maybe your dad. But the spot when you were a little kid and somebody you'd say, I don't feel well. And they'd say, oh, let me check your throat. And they put their hands on your lymph glands there. And they're feeling to see if they're hard or swollen or and that just means that your body has been fighting off and getting rid of some alien that does not belong, some virus, some, you know, your body's had to like clean out any kind of characters that don't belong. And this is the jail. This is where they go. And so we're going to help them flush through. So you're going to take your fingers now and you're just going to drag your fingers, the pads of your fingers down through the side of the throat, down towards the clavicle, right where we were just working, right at that joint between the breastbone and the clavicle. You're going to keep on going down. Now, of course, if you feel like you're really like fighting something and you might need to get stuff checked out, absolutely go see a doc, get these things checked out. This is like you feel like, oh, maybe I'm fighting something. Let me help my lymph. Good. And we're going to keep doing a couple more swipes there. That's great. Good. Now you're going to take your fingertips and you're going to go up to the jaw and we're going to start to massage the jaw joint. And I'm doing circles around where I'm going up, back, and around, up, back, and around. Now, one thing to notice is that we started down at the clavicle and sternum, and we're working our way up. And that's because the lymph, you want to think of it as like a waterfall coming down from the mountains. And so we have to clear all the debris down at the bottom of the river first and open it up so that it can drain. Wow, that's so good. All right, go ahead and grab your ears, lobes, and you're just going to gently pinch the earlobes and make your way around the earlobes till you get to the very top. And then when you get to the top, you're just inside the temples. Go ahead and make circles there by the temples. So good. And then I'm going to have you come over in between the eyebrows. And I want you to take your finger pads and you're going to rest the finger pads on the forehead. And we're just going to drag the finger pads away from one another, kind of parting the forehead a little bit, as if your hair was in your face and you needed to like part your hair and get it out from in front of your eyes. And you're going to do, let's do 5 swipes here. Nice. And then the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to now just clear through the head. So I want you to just take your fingertips, and depending on how you're feeling, like if you're feeling kind of achy, fighting something, you're just going to go gentle. But I want you to take your hands and I want you to just, as if you were combing your hair, I want you to just drag your fingers all the way through to the back of the head and just cover your whole scalp. So good. And now taking the fingertips under kind of where the side of the head is, and you're just going to drag your fingertips to the top of the head. And then once you get to the top of the head, I want you to very gently grab a hold of your hair right at the roots and just give a gentle lift. So good at the end of the day. Go ahead and find another spot, maybe towards the top of the head. I'm coming from the forehead. I'm dragging my fingers back and I'm just going to grab hold and very gently, and just a little bit of a lift. I just want to help my lymph kind of clear through my head area. I think it's something like 3 pounds of lymph we clear out at night out of our heads, or some crazy number like that. Maybe you need to fact check that, but there's a lot of lymph that clears out while we're sleeping. So this is really nice to do at the end of the day. Good. And now make fists, and I just want you to thump on your breastbone area, because we've done this whole drainage from the head all the way down. And now we're just going to move stuff around the chest area. Good. All right, and then relax your hands down by your side. And I don't know if you can remember how things felt for you in your shoulders when we first started, but I just want you to check in again with the shoulders, the chest, and take some breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. Either one's fine. And then I want you to repeat. I want you to lean forward. The shoulders and head are out in front of the hips. And then you're going to come back in line, right where the shoulders and hips stack, and see if you can feel that lift through the head. So good. And then you're going to lean back. And then slowly come forward, stopping where the shoulders and hips are in a line. Good. And see if you can activate again that kind of lift through the neck and head. And just pause here for a moment. Bring your awareness to your face, to your neck and collarbone. Let your jaw relax and drop. And see if you can notice that even though you've got this lift through your cervical, like through your spine, and head is very lifted. In the front of your body, there is this downward flow that's happening. This draining and releasing. That's always happening in the body. So we've got these two different energy directions, that this lift, this awareness, as well as this kind of natural emptying out, this natural cleaning out that the body knows to do. Taking it away. Making space. Allowing for a completion. Things are done and left where they need to be left for now. That not everything has to be in a complete frozen form, that we just allow this lifting and draining to happen. This growing and clearing out all going on. And just notice the satisfaction that your body has when it is allowed to have this kind of process going on. Notice the settled feeling that you have when noticing it's kind of like self-cleaning that's happening. And there's no huge effort or work. It's just a flow that happens through the waterways of our body. Just a waterfall. Just watching the movement of water down through a river or stream, that it's finding its way out. So allow yourself to be in that. It's so great. Okay, I'm going to have you rub your hands again. And then I want you to place your hands over your eyes. And then go ahead and open and close your eyes gently, bringing yourself back into the room. And then when you're ready, you can let your hands down by your side. And I hope that you got a chance to really connect with yourself and feel the amazing intelligence that your body has when you just give it time to kind of catch its breath and catch up to itself and take some time with it, that it can really give back this sense of contentment and as my teacher used to say, the sense of like the grass is greener, the sky is bluer kind of feel.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yeah.
I love like I feel so different, like just on a like a physical level, but like an energetic and like
Ooh, I love that
emotional
word.
level too. So yeah, thank you so much. And actually it was really funny because I had strep throat, so I went to an emergency room this morning. And as I'm sitting in the waiting room, I'm listening to a couple of your meditations because I'm like, this is precious time and my body needs rest. And so I did like sinus one,
Oh,
and I
wow.
can't remember the other one I did, but it was just like, I was really proud of myself for how I used my time. I didn't go on my phone and I didn't play a game until later, but it was so interesting just to go, what I'm learning about my body is when I pick up this and want to like numb out or just kind of, I don't know, disappear or whatever it is for me, I'm like, oh, I want to do a meditation. And so I'm starting to shift from picking this up to play a game um, to picking this up and putting on a meditation.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and it's so, and like I don't get it right. Like I don't do it all the time, but more often than not, I'm putting on a 8 to 20 or 8 minute meditation to a 60-minute meditation. And I just want to say for anybody who might be listening later, if you lay down and do this meditation, sometimes Sarah will do a meditation and I'll lay down and I'll be like, check right out. My body goes to this totally different space and heals on a totally different level. One of her calls I listened to 4 times before I actually stayed coherent and could do all the moves until the end of it. And it's so fascinating to do them over and over and just keep going through that layer and through that layer and through that layer of whatever happens to be there. So I invite you to listen to this meditation as many times as you want. Sarah and I are going to put it on my YouTube channel and her YouTube channel, and we're going to play with it and put it out there so that you guys can have this amazing experience of having your nervous system like drop down into Zen mode. I now know what Zen mode meant. I didn't know what Zen mode meant for years. And I'm a yoga teacher. And like I totally get it now. I didn't before. I totally get it because it's on a totally different level. And I love, love, love the body wisdom. And we don't have to have, like, we have a body. We can just do that right here. The other thing, and Sarah, I'm going to have you speak to this because you do so well, is when we go to do it and we don't have the video and we think we're not doing it right. It's just like, can you just kind of like play and remember some of the things that we did? It's not like a recipe for a fancy bread that you have to follow or it's going to crash if you don't follow
Right.
it exactly.
Right. Yes, absolutely, Carmen. Um, the biggest, I've had some incredible teachers along the way, and the biggest gifts that of information that I've received from a few teachers that just really kind of stuck with me is this this idea that we are looking to do no harm on ourselves, and that if at the very least we can give ourselves this state of feeling more relaxed, that that's where the healing happens. And so whatever that is for you, um, if you don't know the, like Carmen, you're saying, if there's no video or you don't know exactly what you're doing, but your intention is in this like moment to be with yourself in this kind of caring way, then you're going to get a lot there. And that for a lot of us, um, this is a new way to take care of ourselves. This is a lot of us were taught not to even um, not fidget, not not pick at stuff, or not just shake it off or ignore what you're feeling. And so if you grew up in that kind of messaging, um, just be patient with yourself because this is new for you to um to connect and in such a palpating, in a hands-on way can be just new for a lot of us. And so um to just be really, really caring and gentle and that's enough. Um
Thank you.
And just some notes of, while we're bringing it up, is that the touch, when you're doing self massage and things like that, the touch is meant to feel nice. We're not trying to, I think you used this like push through kind of, this is not a no pain, no gain scenario. This is about being really loving with us. And it's amazing just the warmth of our hands are enough, even if you're not moving, but you've got discomfort in an area and you're just placing your hand on an area. The warmth of your hand over that area is enough to help your nervous system calm down. And when your nervous system starts to calm down, you'll start to get more information as to how to, what needs to happen. And you'll start to build up a listening around that. Um, and
Yeah,
then if it doesn't feel good and it doesn't feel right, then stop, and just we're not trying to make stuff happen. This is more of a listening and paying attention to, which is interesting based on where we started with the call in my, challenges around attention in certain scenarios. But for here and for paying attention and listening through the hands, um, that's just it's a skill like listening to someone, having a conversation with you. And so just take your time to learn that.
yeah, I love that. It makes me think of, I did a mindful learning workshop a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about repetition and practice. And I
Mhm.
was in a room full of educators, and it was like, so what would it look like if I only let the children practice their letters once a week? Like, what would reading look like if that we only let them practice it once a week
Mm,
for 10 minutes?
mm,
And so when we think about these new things that we're learning, we can come with that beginner mindset. And it's just like, oh, if I want to get better at this, I want to do it for like half an hour a day. And I know that can feel like there's not time for half an hour a day.
mm.
And so it's like that invitation to start out for 2 minutes of what, like, right? You could do
Yeah,
this for two minutes.
just two
This,
minutes.
yeah, this was
Yeah.
amazing in my world. And so it's just like, what one of those little things that we did today could you do for 1 or 2 minutes for yourself? And if you're an educator, you guys know I always encourage you to do it with your students because nobody else is doing it with them. Like no one else is teaching them this. So thank you so much, Sarah, for showing up today, um, in sharing your wisdom. Now, we're going to put some information in the description below of how to reach out to Sarah, and how to see what she's up to, because she's up to amazing things. And I can show you the cool things she's taught me, but she has all of the information and wisdom around it. And you guys who know me well. I'm like, I like to play with the things that I get taught. I don't always remember the
Good.
information. That's not
Yeah.
how my brain
No, and
works.
it's good. Like I love that you're using the word play. Um, the the permission to kind of just, build that relationship with yourself, with your body is so, gosh, we get this one trip around or however, however long, and it's like to know to like have that relationship with ourselves that way, like this is our bestie.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Sarah does a deep rest call, which is amazing. She does a healing calendar call, which is also amazing. I am in both of those, and there have been like literally life changing for me for the last 18 months.
Oh,
Um, Carmen Marie, am author of Teachers First. For those of you that aren't in my year-long program, which is Healthy Teachers, Healthy Classrooms, where we are a community where you find some of the support you need to feel better in your own body, as well as support the kids that you work with on a daily basis, because you give so much as women, as moms, as teachers, as humans in general. We talked about doing and I can't remember now, Sarah, if we were online or recording or not, when we talked about doing the 2 things that were actually 40 things. So, right, you're
I
doing the
think we
40
were
things.
recording. Yeah.
You're doing the 40 things. So honor those 40 things that you're doing and
Hmm.
recognize that. And like celebrate. And it's okay to do half a thing because really you're only doing about 12 things a day. So thank you again so much for sharing your wisdom, Sarah. We'll have to do this again and reach out to either
Absolutely.
of
Thank
us if you
you.
want to chat.
Thank you,
Connect.
everyone.